Hi, Dr. Dennis Regling. I'm really excited to be doing this interview with you. I know that you've been involved with bullying for a long time. You have a perspective that's not all that common, and I really love the name of your book. And can you show it? It's called Everything I Need to Know About Bullying I Learned in Prison. Now, when I first saw this, Dennis, I thought that it meant that you were in prison, but I think it means something else. Can you tell us about your experience with prison?
Well, I do both prison ministry and juvenile detention center ministry, and I've been in over 1,000 prison services, either leading or observing, participating. And I've had a
A,
lot
a,
of
a
conversations.
thousand, a thousand prison services.
Well, that's over 25 years. It's not as many as it sounds like.
Dennis, you are a PhD, right?
Um, in theology,
In theology.
primarily.
I know you have several hats in addition to bullying presentations. Can you give the audience an idea of the kinds of things that you do?
But until COVID hit, for 20 years, I did educational school shows. I go and do programs, of course, on bullying, but also science lectures. So I got paid to blow things up and act silly, but also motivate kids to learn and to read. So I've seen a lot in the public schools and had a lot of conversations with teachers in that way. And I do about a dozen festivals a year, just doing comedy, magic, and balloon animals. So
So you're a very entertaining guy,
is
and kids must really love you.
for some strange reason, I think it's because
I'd like to focus on what you learned about bullying in prison. What are the most important things that people can learn from bullying about prison, from prison?
mind your own business more than anything else. So often we bring this bullying upon ourselves because we involve ourselves in things that don't involve us. We get more concerned how someone else is living their life than just living our own life. Certainly,
So what if you are in prison and you're trying to mind your own business, but somebody else is trying to prove that they're dominant over you? Because that's really what bullying is. People, at least the way I see it, people are trying to be dominant over you, and nobody likes to be dominated. So what do you do if somebody's trying to show you that they're your boss?
well, see, the first step is to keep yourself out of those situations. You mind your own. If you're minding your own business, if you're letting people live their life and you're living your life, if you respect people, a lot of that's avoided. When you're
So
put in a position, and high school is the same way. When you're put in the position, you need to extricate yourself as quickly as you can. And again, so much as that is done just by showing respect, but not showing weakness.
uh,
Now, even today, once in a while, somebody will want to puff up like they're a tough guy or something. I mean, I don't face it off, but men are men. We're gonna be tough. And my response is, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. And if people realize that you're not worth the trouble, they're gonna leave you alone. When you look someone in the eye, you just tell them, hey, you do what you got to do. That's kind of intimidating, right back at them, because you're not backing down, but you're not threatening. I know one inmate, his long time ago now, but his response was he was a Christian man. He was non-resistant. Okay, as many Christians hold to the issue, the side of non-resistance. But he would look at him. He'd quote 1 Thessalonians 6, where it says, "It is a righteous thing for the Lord to recompense tribulation upon those who trouble the saints." He just look over the eye, quote that verse, and say, "If you mess with me, you mess with God." And he found most men would just leave him alone because he wasn't backing down, he wasn't afraid, and yet they knew he wasn't a fighter. And who wants to mess with God?
So you're saying it's really important to mind your own business and also to show respect.
in all areas of life.
Okay. In all
In all
areas of
areas of
life.
life.
So this is not just in prison or in school, in all areas of life.
You know, my wife is a very caring person, and she has this. She likes to see people doing the right thing, and I've had to tell her, you know, if you're in Walmart, you're in public, and you see someone acting unseemly, you need to be quiet and mind your own business, because the minute you speak, and this world's getting dangerous. The minute you speak up, you don't know how that person will react. You don't know who's with that person. You don't know what weapons might become involved. So, you know, that mom whacks her kid, you mind your own business. That person cuts line, you step back and let it go. It's hard, especially for someone like my wife who wants people to do the right thing, you know. and but the world itself has become a very dangerous place. We see people getting attacked by mobs because they say something to the wrong person. There was a mother in Texas, it was last week, she got shot because someone cut her off in traffic and she made a rude gesture. And this person shot her right in front of her kid. Now, I understand the anger, but even that, I mean, it killed her in public. It can kill you in prison, and it can certainly cause you problems in high school. When we need to back off, respect, and stay out of the limelight. We're not here to tell other people how to live their lives. We're not here to show other people how to live their lives. That our life should.
Even though you have a PhD in theology, you don't see it as your role to tell people how to live their lives?
Oh, absolutely not. The Christians don't tell non-Christians how to live their life. We show them how living for God leads to a better life.
Huh.
They,
Now,
they see how we act. They see our peace, our joy. You know, there's things non-Christians do that as a Christian I can't do, but I'm not here to put law on them and tell them what to do. Rather, let them see. Jesus said Christians are the light of the world. Let them see the light. I have a real problem.
instead of preaching, you should be concerned with how you behave and not with how others behave.
Yes, and that creates conversation. And people, you know, I've had people tell me, and not often enough, you know, they'll say, "I wish I had what you have," because they'll see a peaceful response in a situation where a lot of people would not be peaceful. That willing to set aside certain rights that we feel we have for the sake of peace. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." And sometimes making peace, it doesn't mean being weak, but it's knowing when to be assertive and when not to be assertive.
Now, sometimes people are weak. You know, what do you do if somebody big and strong is looking to start a fight with you? Because this is a real consideration. The so-called bullies will often pick on people that look like weaklings. So how do you show strength if you're not strong? I'm
That
sorry if you feel that
I
I'm
know
putting
it's a
you on
tough
the.
one because
Uh,
once you're perceived as weak, it's hard to change that perception.
uh,
Which is why, you know, in prison, a man should always walk with his head up, not looking down. You look someone in the eye, but then you look away. You don't. Too much eye contact is threatening, but you make a quick eye contact, maybe a nod, and you keep moving.
and you would teach this to people in prisons and in schools.
In schools, part of my program on preventing bullying is about having confidence, being able to laugh at yourself, being able to, you know, hold your head up, look people in the eye, be polite.
Now you said something interesting. You said you have to be able to laugh at yourself. To laugh at yourself
Absolutely,
really means to be able to uh, make fun of your own imperfections, or to
absolutely.
tolerate people making fun of your imperfections. That's what we laugh at things that are wrong. or weak or silly. Anyway, I just
No,
felt I had
you do
to.
that in your program. You know, someone says you're stupid. You say, yes, I wish I was smart like you. Or,
That's one thing I teach now.
you know,
Uh,
you
uh,
laugh, you turn it back. You take their side.
yeah, I tell myself that if you're calling me stupid, it's because you want me to know that you're smart. So I say, oh, and you're really smart. If you're calling me weakling, it's because you want me to know that you're strong. But I learned something very worthwhile on the radio a couple of decades ago. There was somebody on this talk show referring to Joey Bishop. Have you heard of him, Joey Bishop?
Yes,
Okay. He was a famous comedian, I don't know,
yes.
50 years ago, something like that. And the guy on the radio said that when Joey Bishop was a kid, he was puny. A kid in school challenged him to a fight. And Joey Bishop said to him, I'm warning you, if I hit you, I'm going down. So the other guy left and there was no fight. And by the way, a
Right.
mother once told me that her own son said something like this. A kid in school challenged him to a fight. So the boy said, I'm warning you, if I hit you, one of us is going to the hospital and it's not going to be you. And if you can
Certainly.
make a joke about yourself while also letting the person know that, of course, they can beat you up, they don't have to prove it to you anymore.
Right.
Uh, Now, one thing that you make a big deal of in your book, which I think is very important, is uh, not to snitch. You have a chapter called Snitches Get Stitches, right?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that?
It's simple. If you're in prison and you tattle on another prisoner, if you turn another prisoner in for doing something that's wrong, not only is that one, the system's not going to give you anonymity. That never works. The other inmate is now not going to be happy with you. But not only is he not going to be happy with you, every other inmate in the lock is going to know that you're a snitch. There will be no trust, and there are men once they assume you're a snitch, believe you're a snitch, you are now put in the position to be violently attacked. Your items will be stolen. Um, Nobody likes a tattletale. Even in elementary school, that little girl that wanted to tell the teacher every time Johnny's chewing gum, people don't like her, and Johnny pushes her down on the playground. At 7 years old, he wasn't a bully, but now he is because she snitched, she told, she got him in trouble. She was actually bullying, thinking she was doing the right thing.
But aren't kids being taught today that telling is not tattling? And if you experience bullying or you witness bullying, you have to tell the school authorities.
They're told that, and I think it's a huge mistake.
Uh,
There is a time to tell. My twins now are 11. I've always told them, the only time you tattle is if you or someone else is in real danger. Otherwise, you mind your own business. Johnny's chewing gum, it's none of your business. You know, if someone's cheating on a
and
test,
if
it's none of your
somebody is
business.
insulting you, insults is bullying. If somebody insults you, are you not supposed to tell? How can the school help you if you don't tell?
How is the school going to help you? They're going to tell that kid don't call names, and now
Well,
that kid
schools
with
have
his friends.
many schools have zero tolerance for bullying policy. So you tell them, and then the school will make it go away because they won't tolerate bullying.
You know as well as I do that never works because I told on Izzy for calling me names. Izzy get called into the principal's office. His parents get called in. Izzy's in trouble. Now Izzy tells all his friends, and pretty soon everyone knows that one, if they call me names, I get upset, and two, I'm a tattletale. There's no trust. When trust breaks down in any society, that's when you start having violence. That's when you start having people separated.
Mhm.
In prison, those men, there's a certain level of trust. There's a certain level of trust that if I do something I know I'm not supposed to do, that guy next to me isn't going to tell. There's a certain amount of trust that I'm not going to steal from him and he's not going to steal from me. But when that trust breaks down, then everything falls apart.
Now,
We must
the
have
prisons
trust.
that you've worked in, what level of danger are they? You know, how violent
Not
are
real
the?
bad. Medium, and minimum security.
Uh,
So men that are going to be going home, usually 5 to 10 years. Some are longer term. Some life inmates have worked their way down to lower security, so they're not quite, but they're still dangerous. Men still get stabbed. People still get beat down. There is still violent crime in those prisons. It's just
but if the prisoners mind their own business and they don't snitch, then they're less likely to be stabbed.
absolute.
And the same thing in schools. If you mind your own business and you don't tell on other kids, you're less likely to get beaten up.
Completely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I'm really glad you
Stitches
see
get
that.
stitches. No one likes tattletales.
Uh, I'm really glad you see it because I think this is the number one reason why bullying is still an epidemic in every country that decides to take on a war against bullying, because they all teach kids that you have to tell. If I'm the school, it's my responsibility to make the bullying stop. Well, if you don't tell me, how can I make it stop? So we're telling kids that you have to tell so we can do something about it. The problem is the school doesn't always know how to make it better. They'll often make it worse once they start investigating and judging and punishing kids for bullying you.
And the system always protects the system.
Explain
The,
that.
the laws, the rules that they put down aren't designed to protect the victim. They're designed to protect the school from lawsuits, or designed to protect the teachers. Now, and if it does help a student, that's a great little side benefit. But they're gonna protect themselves first. A teacher's not going to put himself out there if it's going to cost him his job, generally speaking.
Uh, but what if
Anonymity
let me
only
ask.
lasts. I'm sorry. Anonymity only lasts until it's to their advantage not to let you have it anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we won't tell. It's completely anonymous until I need your testimony to protect my accusation.
So the school will initially show that it's protecting your anonymity
Sometimes,
until they have to defend themselves from an accusation that they didn't solve a bullying problem or that they're allowing a kid to be bullied.
right? Or you call me and tell me my kid's bullying. Who said so?
Yeah.
Who said so? And
So,
and depending upon, and that can get to the boiling point where suddenly they bring that kid in, or they reveal in some other way.
so
So
you're
the system
saying
will first protect the system.
that schools, you'll turn to the school to protect your child from bullying, but ultimately the school is interested in protecting itself. And if that
First,
requires doing something that's bad for your kid, they'll still do it because they need to protect themselves.
that's human nature. That's absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. We take care of ourselves first.
Okay. I really hope that the listeners are taking this in because so many people today are convinced that the school is the solution to bullying and you have to tell the school and then it becomes their responsibility. And then they wonder why things are getting worse instead of getting better.
I mean, my girls have experienced almost pretty much no bullying in their life. They haven't had, but I've still taught them how to respond. And
What did you teach them? What did you teach them how to respond?
well, one, I pick on them. I goof up. I make fun of them. So it's like big deal. And I've taught them a couple of good responses. I'm rubber, you're glue, but it bounces off me, it sticks on you.
Uh,
My mother taught me sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. So someone calls you names, you throw sticks and stones at them. No, that's not right. But the thing is, words only hurt if you let them hurt. Now, my words can destroy my wife, they can destroy my family because they care about me and my opinion is valuable. But some kid at school I don't like anyways. Why do I care what that kid thinks? Why do I?
Yeah.
No, it's like the people that pick on me, call me names I don't like anyways. I don't care what they think. it's but when you put value on their opinion, then it can hurt. And
Mhm.
certain words from certain people can be devastating. But when children are taught that all names hurt, words hurt, dude, they hurt when you let them hurt.
Yeah. Are you familiar with
You should talk to someone. If your feelings are hurt, go talk to someone. Say, hey, I'm having a problem. This is making me uncomfortable. But you sure don't let the person calling you names know they hurt, because then they keep doing it.
yeah.
You know,
Now you say that you call your kids names. Are you doing it?
I don't call them names. I
No.
tease on them.
Are you do
Our
no?
daughter name's Ellie. Yeah, Smelly Ellie. I sing little. She's smelly.
And how does she respond to that?
She, they laugh. They think I'm silly.
Now
They
you're doing
know.
that to help them practice dealing with
Sure.
insults, and do they
They
know
know it's
that
not
that's
true. Why take it serious?
and do they know that that's what you're doing? You're helping prepare them
Oh,
for dealing
absolutely.
with as long as they
Oh,
know
yeah.
what you're as long as they know what you're doing.
And they're learning that teasing doesn't hurt.
Another
And now
question.
at 11, they've started teasing back.
So what do they say to you?
Oh, I'd rather not get into it.
You don't want to
I always
make the
have a
audience
quip.
laugh.
I can just say something like, "Oh, there's two little monkeys in the room," and well, you're our father. It's like obviously I'm the
But
big eight.
okay,
They're
that's
little monkeys. You know, they're not hurt. The one time the girls may have been bullied a little was at a church picnic. A little boy said something to my one daughter about her wearing a bicycle helmet. Like to him, why would you wear a bicycle helmet? She just looked at him and said, "Better safe than sorry." And a discussion. It's like, you know, his opinion didn't matter. Her mom told her to wear a bike helmet. She knew why to wear a bike helmet. He might think it's silly, but her response was perfect. Better safe than sorry. And
now,
that was the end of it. No arguing, no defending.
now you've had a long time to teach this to your children at home. When you go to a school, do you find that you're able to teach kids fairly quickly, not to get upset by insults?
All I can do is plant the seed. The teachers, a lot of it depends what the school does when I leave, what the teachers do. You know, I use, very visual examples and a lot of storytelling in it, not real stories, little magic tricks or effects, integrated in to make it memorable.
So you'll give the lesson,
I
the
do so
message
much.
about what to do, but you'll wrap it into a magic trick so they'll remember it better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We remember what we see.
Uh,
Remember, and kids would come up to you. I go to the school for a show after being there, the year before, or even 2 years before. They say, "Hey, remember when you did this?" They remember what they see, and they remember what they hear when they see it. It's a great teaching method. Jesus used a lot of visual examples, and he painted story pictures. So we remember the picture. We remember what we saw, and it helps remember. It helps retention. But my bullying program in school emphasizes it assumes bullying is going to happen, and it's how do I react? I react with confidence. I react with humor. I include everyone. Um, all those things. I talk about our uniqueness. Every one of us is unique, and yeah, people are going to find that to pick on. You're going to pick on the kid with the big nose. You're going to pick on the kid with the big ears. You're going to pick on, in my case, short red hair and glasses all through elementary school.
How did you deal with being picked on?
Me?
Yeah.
I had to. Well, one, the words never bothered me. I don't, because my whole family, short red hair and glasses. It's like the people I like are like me.
Yeah, but you knew not to let it bother you when kids would make fun of you for being short and red haired.
Why would I? It's who I am.
Yeah, but a lot of kids, a lot of kids are short, who are short, get picked on for being short, and they get upset by it, so they become
I know,
victims of bullying. So why don't those kids know what you knew?
because they have not been taught. I mean, it's part of it is my mom. My mom is strong, and if I went to her and told me someone called me names, you know, she'd be like, it was always the same thing. Did the names hurt you? No, not physically.
Okay,
You know,
so emotionally, it
sister
hurts you
too. So
emotionally. But if you said not physically, then your mother would know that you mean it does hurt you emotionally. Isn't that what you mean? Not
it really didn't,
physically?
because it was people I didn't care about anyways. I mean,
Now, but what I'm trying to get at is, did your mother teach you not to get upset by it, by asking you
yes,
these questions?
yes.
Okay, so when she asked you, did the words hurt, and you would said no, not physically, did you make the connection that it also shouldn't, the word shouldn't hurt you emotionally either? Did you make that
I
connection, or
was
did
just
your
like,
mother?
the old words hurt, you know, toughen up. I don't, you know,
Yeah.
my mother ex- was a strong woman. She expected me to be strong. She did not, you know, and words, words are just words.
Okay, so you learned from her not to get upset by words.
Yes.
Okay, very good. That's what I'm trying to get at. So your
And
mother,
when you let those words bother you, it just creates more and more of it. That's the thing.
exactly.
I call
You know, listen,
my
that's what I've been teaching all along. I've been teaching this for more than 40
I know.
years. And now I want to ask you, what part of the country do you work in?
I live in Ohio, and basically within about an 8-hour drive of where I live in Southeast Ohio. I've
So
actually
you,
been to the states, but generally speaking, out to the East Coast, out to Illinois, about as far south as Kentucky, a little bit in Tennessee.
so you'll work up to an 8-hour drive from your home?
Generally, because the school shows, I get out of school at 3 o'clock on Friday. I can still be home before midnight and have the whole
Uh,
weekend
so
with my.
you never fly for presentations?
No.
Uh, Why is that?
Well, I do a lot of science shows, and taking the stuff that I use onto an
I
airplane.
see. I see.
And then there's the expense. Who's going to pay for the plane? Who's going? I know there's speakers that do, but it does add to the expense of the program. And when you're dealing with PTAs, I deal with a lot of PTAs. They have budgets.
Uh,
Taking a show
So
from
so you pretty much
$1,000 to
stay
2,500
within.
is a huge jump.
But if you have to drive 8 hours each direction to do a show, you need to be compensated for your time.
Yes, but
So doesn't
I
that also add to the expense just as much as a flight would?
no, I can book several schools in a week, and I
I
may drive. I may drive to. I've driven. I've done schools in Rhode Island and Massachusetts quite often. And I might have two schools in New England, but I can pick up two more in Pennsylvania on the way home or on the way out.
I
Fly
see.
every school would have to pay for
Uh,
towards.
okay, so you try to arrange several schools in the same trip.
Oh, always
Okay.
yes,
Oh, always. Okay, very good. So this keeps
almost
the
always yes.
expenses down. Okay. Now, if a school wants to hire you, and I can vouch that you have really the right attitudes, and I can recommend you wholeheartedly. What should a
Thank
school
you.
do if it wants to hire you to do a presentation?
Well, they can go to my website, greatassemblies.com,
Uh,
www.greatassemblies.com.
that's a great name for a
Information's
website.
there.
Nobody purchased that URL before you did.
Big, no,
Well, that's great because you would think somebody must have thought great assemblies and bought it before you did.
well, that's what people always told me I had. So that
Uh,
was the I got.
how long do you have? How long do you have the website?
Over 20 years now.
Wow, that's a long time. Wow, so you've been doing this for a long time. Now, let me ask
Yes.
you, do you have one last message that you would like to give the people that are listening?
Oh, wish I'd known this question was coming.
Okay, take your time. You can think about it. Listen, if you don't, I will cut
The
this out, so don't worry
the
about
the
it.
big thing is that my school program is called "Don't Play the Bully Game" because bullying is a game. If I, as a bully, can make you cry, I win. If I, as a bully, can make you cower, I win. If I can get the reaction I want, I win. Your job is not to play the game. Your job is not to give the reaction that's expected or wanted. It's and that comes right down to developing confidence, developing in our children confidence. You know, I really don't like the idea of self-esteem because it puts self so important, but that confidence, learning to love yourself, that love who God has made you.
And that's not the same as self-esteem, having
It is. I
self-love.
just don't like the term
Okay. Uh,
because
it's been
about
a bit
me,
overused,
about society.
self-esteem. I see what you're saying. Okay, Dennis, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. It's also a pleasure to look at you because you just have this wonderful presence. You have a great smile, and your
I
beard,
would,
your beard is even nicer and whiter than mine. And
yes, it is white.
okay, it's
It
been a
was red
pleasure.
when I got married, so I'm not sure.
My beard. Well, I didn't have a beard at the time, but my hair was dark brown when I got married.
I'm not sure there's a correlation, but
Uh, anyway, it's been a pleasure, and enjoy the rest of your day. And
thank
stay
you,
in
sir.
touch. Okay, be
All
well,
right, be
Dennis.
well.
Bye. You too. Bye.